Pastor John from Thrive Fellowship.
Thank you so much. Let's pray. God, we thank you tonight for, Lord, first just the freedom to be here, Lord, and to gather. And Father, we thank you for this board that's in front of me. God, you tell us in your word that there is no authority except that which you have ordained. And Lord, these men and women are in these chairs tonight, Lord, fulfilling what you have called them to do. And we thank you for them, Lord. We pray for wisdom for them tonight as they, God, as they continue to consider policy, as they consider personnel. We pray for wisdom for them as they work together. Lord, give them unity, Lord. May they challenge one another. May they complement one another, Lord. May they work together as a team. We just thank you for them. So, Lord, impart your wisdom, God, your vision for this county, for the school system, for the kids. Lord, we thank you for the teachers. We thank you for the helpers. We thank you for all the administration. We pray an extra measure of your strength for them. Lord, even though summer is upon us, we know their minds continue to work, Lord, as they continue to work and prepare for yet another year. Give them the rest that they need, but also, Lord, just the unction to move forward, Lord, and to continue what you've called them to do. So, Lord, just we thank you again for tonight. Lord, may what is done here tonight be pleasing and honoring to you. We pray for your presence, pray for your peace, pray for your wisdom. And we pray all of this in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to be followed by a moment of silence.
The flag of the United States of America, to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Do we have anyone for public comment? Oh. Do you have any comments?
No.
Okay. Okay, let's move on to the consent agenda.
Oh, no, it changes the agenda, I remember.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are there any changes to the agenda?
Yes, Madam Chair, I'd like to add a discussion item to possibly either change or eliminate one of the board meetings.
Okay, we'll add that to the agenda
This summer.
this summer.
Madam Chair, I just
Yes.
wanted to mention something about the agenda. I had on my notes from the beginning of our planning that this was going to be a code of conduct review. And so I just wanted to mention that because we're going to need to add that, I guess, at another meeting or decide when that's going to be.
Okay, we can do that. So I will speak. I've spoken with Mrs. Fisher about that. There is no changes to the code of conduct this year, which is typically the approach that we take here. But if the board would like to just have an overview and have a better understanding of what is in the code of conduct, then we can make that arrangement.
Okay, thank you. Did everyone have a chance to look at our meeting minutes from May 5th? Did anybody have any changes or concerns about the minutes? If not, can I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we accept the minutes for May the 5th, 2025.
Second.
As presented.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor, please? Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Now let's move on to our policies.
Madam Chair, the first section there, policies reviewed but not revised. This is a process that VSBA typically follows. They take a look at policies that are on a rotating cycle. And the 5 policies you have before you were policies that VSBA reviewed this year but made no changes. So they just wanted to make us aware that they have reviewed them on the standard timeline.
Do we Do I have a motion to approve those as presented?
I'll make a motion that we approve the policies as presented.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries.
Great.
Now to the VSBA policy updates.
Madam Chair, we have these VSBA policy updates for you. There are additional policies that we will bring forth in forthcoming meetings. These policies, after we've reviewed them, are policies that do not have substantive change to them at all. We have them on the consent agenda this evening. Hopefully you guys have had a chance to take a look at them. If there is any particular questions on any of them, I can certainly speak to or address them. But as far as the substance, there's not a whole lot of change in them.
A lot of just cross-reference updates and stuff.
Yes.
There was one in there, I believe, that Mrs. Cleveland wanted to talk about. Was the code of conduct.
Which one is that? The
You and I talked about it earlier.
No, what I was saying was that this meeting was supposed to be the code of conduct review. That's probably what you're thinking.
I'm sorry, the student conduct is one of the updates in here.
Yeah, it wasn't. I don't have any comments about that. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, so is everyone in agreement that these are acceptable as presented?
Dr. Wood, when I read through these, there's several grammar errors in there. There are
VSBA grammar errors.
words left out.
Okay, we'll take a look at them. Okay, thank you, Mr. Frank.
Do I have a motion?
I make a motion that we accept these as presented.
Second.
With changes for the,
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Next, we have on our agenda the FY26 budget approval.
Yes, Madam Chair, you have an attachment, and I'll just go through that quickly. Following the appropriation resolution from the King George County Board of Supervisors on May 20th, 2025, it's the responsibility of the King George County School Board to approve the annual budget allocation. The appropriation for consideration and approval by the King George County School Board takes into consideration expenditures and revenue forecasts that align with the budget adopted by the Virginia General Assembly. Following a very collaborative and, as a result, productive budget season, the Board of Supervisors allocated a local share of $26,328,370 for King George County Schools. These funds will help the school division make significant progress towards the goals outlined in our strategic plan. My motion this evening, if you accept it, would be to, I recommend that we approve the budget allocation in a total amount of $68,981,650 for the operation of King George County Schools for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2025 and ending on the 30th day of June, 2026.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we approve the budget allocation in the amount of $68,981,650 for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, ending July 30th of 2026.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Now we have our discussion items. First on the list is our Title I grant.
Yes, so we have all of our title programs tonight, and while Ms. Harris comes up, we will review the applications this evening. We have those responsible for the applications with us tonight. And if you have any questions about Title I, Title II, Title III, and Title IV, we'll be prepared to answer those this evening. Ms. Harris?
Good evening, Chairman Hoover. Excuse me, it's been a long day. We had first day of summer school. Woohoo, we survived. Members of the school board and Dr. Board, thank you for the opportunity to discuss the Title I Advisory Committee report and the Title I grant with you this evening. To give you a little historical information, Title I, the Improving Basic Programs State Grant Program, is the most significant source of federal funding supporting Title I, Part A. The purpose is to provide all children with significant opportunities to receive a fair, equitable, and high-quality education and to close educational achievement gaps. The use of Title I funds directly impacts student achievement, provides students with enriched and accelerated academic programs. It offers additional services that increase the amount and quality of instruction. It significantly elevates the quality of instruction. It also provides parents with substantial and meaningful opportunities to participate in their child's education. Title I provides financial assistance to school divisions and public schools with high numbers or percentages of children from low-income families. The goal is to help ensure that all children meet challenging state academic content and achievement standards. Authorized under the Elementary and Secondary Education Act, Title I funding is awarded to state educational agencies on a formula basis. Funds must supplement, not supplant, local budgets. Title I funds may not be used to replace funds or services that would otherwise be provided. Instead, they are intended to enhance the regular educational program. The award on this application that I presented to you this evening for the 25-26 grant application is based on the previous year's award that we received in 2024-25. This amount is $515,991.86. This funding most likely will change when final allocations are given to the district and the grant will be revised. Sometimes we get less money, sometimes we get more. This is the most that we've ever had since I've been in this position. To give you a little background, there are two instructional models that we use here in King George County. We have the Targeted Assist model, which provides supplemental instructional services to targeted at-risk students. The funds can only be used to students and families identified for these services. Potomac Elementary and Sealston Elementary are Targeted Assist schools. Our school-wide model provides instructional services to enhance the entire academic program, and you must have a low income of 40% or greater to achieve this model. And King George Elementary School is our school-wide Title I school. Also, to give you a little background, the Title I programming and application process is a collaborative effort involving our school, students, and our families. Each identified school has a Title I committee, and we also have a division-wide Title I advisory committee. Each committee includes teachers, administrators, division reading and math specialists, parents, and other community members. These committees meet throughout the school year to identify program needs and to monitor student progress. With the implementation of more rigorous reading and math standards of learning, in addition to the Virginia Literacy Act requirements, King George County Schools must adequately support our teachers and the students through systematic and explicit instruction. So to give you a little bit of more information with all the hard work that these committees have done throughout the year, our Division Title I Advisory Committee consisted of 21 members this year, which has been the largest we've had since I've been in this position, which is phenomenal, I think. Our goals that we created for the committee were to increase awareness and understanding of the Title I programming and provide hands-on activities and opportunities for families to create a better understanding of how they can assist their child at home in reading and math. And we also, in collaboration, wanted to write a grant to address the student needs through this collaboration of all stakeholders. Just to highlight something that we're very, very proud of, and this came up in our last advisory committee meeting, we serviced 714 students at the elementary level through our Title I programming, 402 in reading, 234 in math, and 78 in both reading and math. This is all for the efforts of not only Title I services, but all the hard work that has gone into all school members. Each school also hosted 2 Title I family engagement nights for our families that one focused on reading and one focused on math. I think this is just so impressive of all the hard work and dedication. So I would personally like to thank everyone for their dedication and commitment. Mr. Frank, thank you for being on our committee. And we really thank you for your continued support. So hopefully you had a chance to read over the grant. The grant is a reflection of all the the kind of the needs assessment that we gave at each building and what we feel the division needs moving forward. So if you have any questions, please let me know.
Just want to make sure, we have, I know King George L is the only one that's completely Title I, the rest are targeted. So we have one full-time Title I teachers paid for with Title I funds, teacher,
A
right?
teacher, yeah, at that school.
And about 22 paras, is that about right?
No, we have, it's 20, in that school, we had to put, that part of the application.
Right.
There's only 7 pairs paid out of the Title I.
That, of all the schools?
Yeah, that's all combined. There are 22 pairs at King George Elementary because I have to put that
Oh,
in
I
the
see,
grant.
I see, I misunderstood, that was my
If you saw,
question.
yeah, on the OC 1000, that tells you the personnel that the grant
I'm looking at
covers.
that now, all right, so there's just 7.
It's
but there's
7 pairs and
total-
1 teacher.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other members have questions? Would it be helpful if we went ahead and approved this tonight?
Oh, that would be
or-
amazing. That would be great.
Madam Chair, I don't have any questions. I have some comments. I just want to thank you guys for all you do. This math and reading that you've got going on is really making a difference, and hopefully it can work to help the division-wide get rid of what I call social promotion, and which is going to make everything better from, 3rd grade all the way to walking across the stage. So thank you for all you do.
You're so welcome. We enjoy it. Okay. Okay. Well, thank you so much. So
Make a motion, yeah. Somebody. I'm not there.
So the motion would be to approve the Title I Part A grant.
Yeah, I know. All right, I'll make the motion that we approve the Title I Part 1A grant as presented.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries.
thank you so much for your continued support.
Thank
You're
you.
Thank you,
welcome.
Ms. Harris.
Good job, thank you very much.
Next, we have Ms. Hill, and she'll do Title II and Title III.
Good evening, Chairman Hoover and school board members and team, and everybody out in the online world. As you're aware, Title II is a federally funded supplemental educational program that provides financial assistance to improve the skills of teachers and the quality of instruction in core academic subjects in public and private elementary and secondary schools. Title II's program goals include supporting the recruitment and hiring of highly certified teachers to ensure high quality instruction for every King George student, increasing professional development, opportunities for teachers directly focused on helping students learning goals and support students in their focused academic areas, especially in math and reading. Professional development to support teachers in the development of alternative assessments, and support of a county-wide mentorship program and lead teacher program. Title II supports becoming a career teacher and staying in the classroom with traditional instructional duties, becoming a mentor teacher, staying in the classroom but taking on additional duties such as mentoring first-year teachers and receiving extra pay for those duties, and becoming an exemplary teacher based on a distinguished record and professional development and training. So some of the programs that we fund in our county with Title II funds, and this is also in the application, are our lead teacher program, our mentor teacher program, regional professional development. It supports registration and travel to regional outside of our division. Registration and travel for our human resources department as they go to job fairs. Reimbursement for employees who are working towards licensure and endorsement. And this year we're adding to our new teacher program that we'll have down at UMW on July 31st, a leadership piece to that July 31st professional development training. In the past, we've had mentor training. This year, we're going to have leadership training. So Title II supports all of those things. Does anybody have any questions?
I just have one. On page 5, paragraph 4, it just mentions that you're going to be implementing a crosswalk, support plan crosswalk. What is that? It's page 5, item 4.
I need to read it in context.
Oh, no, that's why I'm here. Page 5, item 4, it says currently King George County Schools has one middle school, so on. To address these areas of need, the division is implementing a support plan crosswalk. I mean, this sounds wonderful. I just wondered what it is.
I'm sorry.
That's
I
okay.
wrote this some time ago.
Page 5, item 4,
I'm with you.
first sentence,
Oh, the
second
support
sentence.
plan crosswalk
Right.
aligns with our strategic plan. So
Right.
when we're writing a support plan for a school, we crosswalk it with our strategic plan. So
All that
we
means.
take our strategic plan for the division, and then when we write our school improvement plans, we crosswalk them so that the goals of the strategic plan are aligned with what we have in the actual school plans.
Okay, so that's all that means.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know whether that was a separate thing or it's just a connection between the two. Thank
It's
you.
just the connection.
That's fine.
I don't.
Sorry, I couldn't answer that right away. I just
Oh,
wanted.
no, that's fine. I mean, I assumed it was some, but is this some special kind of, but it's just relating the strategic plan with the Title II?
It's
That's fine.
only special in that we have to ensure that that happens as a part of the process when we are writing any kind of plan. We need to make sure that it aligns with our
Sure.
strategic plan.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion that we approve the Title II Grant Part A supporting effective instruction as written.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I also would like to address our Title III grant, which again is federally funded. These are funds that are provided to us through a formula grant from our state. Title III supports our ESOL programs in our school system, which provide special instruction for our English learners who are trying to acquire language acquisition skills. This supports their regular instruction in reading, writing, listening, and speaking. Title III funding supports high-quality language instruction programs, professional development of our English learner teachers, and materials. We don't receive a lot of funding for our ESOL program, so our funding only goes so far. Funding for ESOL is about $7,000, $7,022. King George employs 3 ESOL teachers. These teachers serve 5 schools, and that does not include the preschool. We don't provide services to our preschool, just to our 3 elementary, middle, and high. English learner students in King George County speak 12 different languages. So our ESOL teachers are working with students that have acquired language skills in 12 different languages. And that's this week. Next week, we could have brand new students enrolling. So it is a moving program, moving tide. We have a population that has nearly doubled since COVID. And as of my last report, we had about 87 students, but it went up to 92 earlier in the school year. So there's a lot of transient students in our ESOL population. And most of our students are at a level 1, 2, or 3, which means that they are still early acquisition language learners. And so we're very grateful to have our 3 ESOL teachers, 2 of them which travel from different buildings to work with students.
Anyone have any questions?
She answered it. I was going to ask about how many students do we have, and you said 92.
Well, it was 92. It's 87 right now for the state report. But like I said, we will most certainly have more students this year because we keep acquiring more and more each year.
Are the ESOL teachers enough? Are they adequate, or do we need more to accommodate the students that we have?
It would be better to have more.
How many more? do we
Well,
need?
starting with one. would be great.
Okay, well, I understand that, okay.
I mean, I'd like to shoot for the moon, but if we could get one more. The problem with having 3 teachers servicing 5 schools is that we waste a lot of time with travel.
Exactly. Right.
And it's also challenging because when these students are pulled for any kind of one-to-one, they have to do it outside of the regular instruction, the core instruction. So we don't want to pull a student out of reading instruction to get their ESOL support instruction. We have both a push-in model and a pull-out model, but typically our teachers do pull out to provide that support for students.
Do you accept, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that, but my wife is certified and she's asked about part-time. Do you take any part-time certified ESOL teachers? I mean, would you be able to use
We
that?
take what the budget allows.
Okay. I mean, is there a need? I mean, my question is, can you use a part-time ESL teacher?
Yes, I had a full-time ESL teacher in the budget,
Okay.
but it was not funded. So, I mean, we're in a situation where we have to make choices.
Okay.
And so we're going to keep plugging along with the staff that we have. And if ever we can, get another teacher, that would be amazing.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve Title III Part A grant in the amount of $7,022.24.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Second.
Have a motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries.
Thank you, Ms. Hill.
Ready? Good evening. I'm here to talk about the Title IV grant application, another federal grant that King George County Schools receives. We receive approximately $30,000 every year. This current application is for the $34,052.66. Title IV provides funding in 3 primary categories. Those are well-rounded education, safe and healthy students, and technology. Under Category 1, well-rounded education, that helps students make connections between their academics, their interests, and then the skills they'll need later in life. 2 priorities that we have under Category 1 are providing information sessions, workshops, field experiences, et cetera, for students and families on their post-secondary options, such as work, military, college, et cetera. Another priority under Category 1 is developing and expanding extracurricular programs that support community involvement and help incorporate those cross-curricular activities into the college, career, and life readiness skills, which you'll see throughout, abbreviated as CCLR. Category 2 is safe and healthy schools, which focuses on enhancing students' physical and emotional well-being, which helps foster academic success. A couple of our priorities under Category 2 are improving and expanding on our Tier 1 activities, such as our character education program that we call Project Kind, and then expansion of Tier 2 and 3 activities that include small group and individual programming on topics such as substance abuse, anger management, et cetera. Those are some of the courses that you, as a board, are able to also assign students to during disciplinary hearings through our Office on Youth partnership. And then Category 3 is use of technology. Under the Title IV grant, funds in Category 3 are capped at a very small percent. And so we only have one priority under Category 3, and that is providing professional development that supports technology-based activities, such as our Naviance, which is our college and career readiness platform that's used at the middle school and high school, as well as Vector, which is our student library, again, that is able to assign courses to students as a result of disciplinary infractions, et cetera. And that is Title IV.
Any board members have any questions for Ms. Fisher?
I'm looking, but Mrs. Fisher, how much of this grant would go towards, the Project Kind initiative?
project?
So it helps, there's not an exact dollar amount. If you look in the various object codes, one thing that it helps support under Projects Kind is the like extra duties as part of that program. Sarah Ritchie is our current elementary school counselor at King George L, and she also acts as the division coordinator for Project Kind, so she receives a small stipend for that work. We also use it to purchase supplies, materials and things for classroom lessons. So I don't have an exact dollar amount pre-grant because we don't know what those costs are going to be, but I can get that to you from previous because this is an ongoing program that we've done.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion to approve this?
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we approve Title IV, Part A grant application.
Second?
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Mrs. Fisher.
Next up, Madam Chair, we have the Division Literacy Plan, which we are required to approve annually, and we have Dr. Mannanen this evening to present.
Good evening. Good evening, Madam Chair Hoover, school board members, Dr. Boyd, and the King George community and staff. My job this evening is to present our updated division literacy plan. It now includes our kindergarten through 8th grade students. Tonight, I'm asking for your support and for your approval so that this plan can be submitted to the state. Once it is approved by the state, our division literacy plan will be posted on our King George Community Schools English website and communicated to our staff and community. I am available should any questions that you need answered.
Anyone have questions?
Well, you did a lot last year, so how did that go for you, you think? Or did y'all, or how would you do things differently or going forward, or maybe what worked for you guys?
And it's interesting that you would ask that question because that question was posed by the state when we developed this K through 8 section is what went well last year, what would we do differently? Probably the biggest piece that you would look at is we did integrate our digital learning need into our vision. So our vision from last year, it's been revised and a little more tight to include that digital literacy component. We did have to include some components for the interventions. So the list looks very long when you look at those interventions. But when we really drill down to what our students need for their instructional indicators in their student reading plans, each program is tailored for very specific needs. So if a student needs phonemic awareness, they will do this particular program. They're not going to do all the 12 that are listed on that page. But our division literacy plan requires that we list all of those evidence-based programs with high quality instructional materials as part of our plan that we may use those. In fact, if you look down at the bottom where it says TBD, we are awaiting another approval process by the state because the programs are so limited for the middle school that have been approved. That is one thing that we have really talked about as a team is we have these great programs and they have worked for our K through 3 students. What are the programs that we know that will work for our 4 through 8 students? Not all of those students have phonemic needs. They might have more fluency or comprehension needs. So we really had to examine some of those programs and find those ones that will work for that cluster of students on the upper adolescent elementary side. The other consideration that we really talked about what worked well and what didn't was the assessment itself. We had no idea what the VALS test would involve, the amount of time that it would take. And we just sat down, and this was across the region too, and we did the best that we could. And we realized we could have streamlined that assessment process and shortened that amount of time up so that instructional time was not lost. In fact, we had that conversation well into day 3 and day 4 of that fall testing window, and we decided to do some things differently in January at the mid-year timeframe and at the end of the year. And it really proved to be beneficial so that it only took the teacher out to do some assessing for one day to do their whole class, 1 to 2 days, and they were just back in the ball game. And we had some assistance where they could keep the instruction occurring with some of our paraprofessional help and other substitute teachers where they could come and instruct those students. So the professional learning, or excuse me, the instructional learning kept going on while the teacher was pulling out the students to do our required assessments. So we really sat down to say, we know we have to do this. How can we do this tighter, leaner, and get some valid data on our students? And so that was really a reflective process. And you will find that in section 4 of the division literacy plan, where we really looked at what kind of assessments we are giving, why we are giving those assessments, and what can we do better for our students and our staff moving forward.
Thank you.
Yep.
A lot of work this year, so thank you for that. And for all the teachers and staff that were just going along with it and just doing their best, because that was a lot.
They really did, and there's a lot of celebrating there. There was so much learning that was occurring. There were new standards, there was a new literacy plan, there was a VAL screener, there was some new curriculum that we had put in with our writing component, and everyone was willing to try. And I think that's fabulous. And we supported each other, and there were some struggles, and there were some huge celebrations, and there was some pull them up and let's continue on and let's do it better. So really the staff, the administrators that helped structure some of those processes to do the testing, we could not have done it. We could not have had as smooth a process as we did for our students. So it was really because we all pulled together.
Shout out to our paras too and our substitutes.
Absolutely.
Because without them, we couldn't be as successful with it, I
King
hear.
George has the best paras, for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mannanen. Do I have a motion to approve the literacy plan?
I move that we approve the school year 2025 to 2026 division literacy plan as written.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Thank you
Thank you.
again.
Thank you very much. Well done.
Dr. Boyd.
Yes. First, let me say thank you, ladies. I appreciate all the hard work that went into all of that. I knew it was a lot of hours and a lot of work. So thank you so much for that. The next item is staff bonuses. We've all been talking about this for a few meetings now. So if you open up your attachment, you'll see that the state has appropriated out of the direct aid to public education about $140 million, which equates to one-time bonus payments of $1,000 for SOQ funded positions across the state. I'm going to skip down to the second paragraph. Sufficient funding is provided for the entire cost of an average $1,000 bonus per funded SOQ instructional and support position in this act. Sufficient funding is provided for the entire cost of an average $1,000 bonus per academic year governor's school and regional alternative education program instructional and support positions based on the most recent available full-time equivalent position counts as reported to the Department of Education. School divisions shall have the discretion to determine the amount of bonuses per employee to maximize the use of these funds to promote retention among instructional and support positions in this act. The funds for which a division is eligible to receive shall require no match by the local government. Localities are encouraged to use additional available funds to provide bonuses to other eligible instructional and support staff positions. My recommendation this evening, after consulting with neighboring superintendents and our finance staff, is I would recommend that we equally disperse the state-provided funds to all full and part-time staff who've worked in King George County schools during the 24-25 school year and have agreed via signed contract to return to King George County schools during the 25-26 school year in the amount of $700 one-time bonuses for full-time staff and $350 one-time bonuses for all part-time staff paid out on July 31st, 2025.
Thank you, Dr. Boyd. Just for everyone's knowledge, how many SOQ positions does King George County have? Do you know?
Oh, it's about half of what we, yeah, it's a
So-
little, maybe more than half, but nowhere near what we would need to cover all staff.
Sounds fair. Does this include bus drivers?
Yes, includes all staff, all full-time staff and all part-time staff. Mhm. Yes, that's instructional staff, bus drivers, cafeterias, that's everybody. Mhm.
I think that's very fair. I think that, I think the entire staff will be appreciative, and I don't think those that are strictly SOQ positions would hopefully feel badly about it, because what little bit that they're sacrificing is now able to reward many, many more.
Dr. Boyd, quick question, sorry, Madam Chair. For the SOQ positions, how are those chosen? Do they come in or do we have those positions available and assign them?
To be honest with you, we don't actually, if you take a look at the state funding calc tool, some of it is down to the decimal as far as the number of positions they'll provide. So we'll have like 1.5% of a position. So we don't actually identify.
Oh, wow.
I mean, so it
Full-time SOQ.
it doesn't get down to that level. I mean, we probably could, we can do that, but we don't. And we would prefer not to, honestly. I can tell you some school divisions, and I wouldn't take this approach, but some school divisions are just paying SOQ individuals $1,000 and everyone else is not receiving a bonus.
But my
And,
question is, do they come in as that, or who determines if they're SOQ?
The SOQs are determined from the state. So it's a document that comes out and it says, you know, for every 350 kids at a school, you have to have one librarian. For every, whatever the ratios are for guidance counselors and so on.
But they don't come in as Margaret doesn't come in with the SOQ title.
We don't, I don't think we think that way.
So it's just basically yeah, okay. So really it's fair.
And I think spreading it evenly amongst our staff is the fair and right thing to do.
Is there anything that you have to, other than like librarian, any teachers that would have to qualify to be an SOQ or?
SOQ positions are usually teachers, guidance counselors, librarians, instructional aides, principals, and assistant principals. But as you know, I mean, we're well beyond that in terms of positions. It's not bus drivers. It's not. I mean, you can get, the list is huge as far as what's not SOQ.
I'm just trying to address if there's any teachers or staff that's going to come toward and say, hey, why are they getting it when they're not SOQ? If there was any type of.
No, we're not even going to look at SOQ or not. We're going to spread it across the whole division.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But I do think the teachers probably know if they're holding an SOQ position. You don't think so?
But he said it's like.
I don't think they know if they're SOQ or not. Yeah.
Better than,
No.
Mhm.
okay.
No.
That is more.
Dr. Ward, who falls under this part-time board here?
Beth, who can you think of some examples of part-time?
Bus drivers and parents.
So like some of our cafeteria workers are contracted with their part-time.
Bus monitors, is that? Mhm. Mhm.
And do I have a motion to approve this expense?
I make a motion that we approve the recommendation that the superintendent has given, which means that in the 25-26 school year, in the amount of $700 for all one-time bonuses, all one-time bonuses for all full-time teachers, and then $350 for a one-time bonus for all part-time teachers paid out on July 31st.
Second.
Any discussion?
I think you're going to have to modify that because it's not just teachers.
All staff.
Oh, I'm sorry, did I say teachers? I'm sorry, I meant all staff. Yeah, all full-time staff members, sorry, thank you.
Motion was made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Dr. Boyd.
Yes, ma'am.
Now let's talk about school security.
Yes, Madam Chair. So we have heavily worked on the concept of school security and improving it over the spring, well, really for the entire school year, but really heavy in the spring. There are three things that I'd like to bring to your attention tonight because I know there are issues that we have discussed most recently. Number one, I'm happy to report that King George Middle School next year will receive a school security officer, an SSO, that will be grant funded for 4 years. So that'll certainly help with a number of things at the middle school. Middle school is very excited about an extra set of hands and somebody that's going to be an extra set of eyes and so on. That's first. Secondly, you all charged me with taking a look at bus stop arm cameras. I've taken a look at that right now. I still need to explore some other options. The first option we received was the business model was a little different than what I thought it was on the front end. Originally, I was under the assumption that the business model was one in which the company would provide the cost of the capital up front, all of the equipment up front, and then they would make up the cost of the capital and also be profitable based on citations that would be given for anybody that passed a school bus when the stop arm was extended. After further review and talking with that particular company, and there's some other companies we can explore. I've got Mr. Grigsby in transportation has a number of contacts, and we'll work through some other options. But right now, that option was about $1,600 on the front end per bus for installation, and then a monthly cost of $270 per bus moving forward. So as you can tell, that we have about 60 some buses on the road, so you can tell that cost would add up very quickly. We certainly are interested in the technology and would love to be able to employ it, but as I've looked around, it's something that most urban school divisions have. In fact, I was driving through, I think it was Virginia Beach last weekend, and those schools, buses have it. You don't see a lot of rural school divisions right now because if you're working out the cost of how many citations you're going to get in a rural community versus the cost up front, it's an imbalanced equation. So we're going to explore some other models and see if we can find an option that suits King George County. Is there any questions on that before I move forward to the last item?
I do have a question about the SSO. So that's going to have 2 SSOs at the middle school now?
That'll be one SRO, school resource officer, who is employed by the King George County Sheriff's Department and works for King George County Sheriff's Department. And then an SSO, school security officer, will be employed by King George County Schools. So we'll have both of those individuals in that school.
So is the SSO, are they like the equivalent of the SRO? Can they?
No.
Same thing?
They have different benefits and drawbacks. So honestly, an SRO has to follow more of the expectations of a deputy. So they have to have probable cause when they're conducting an investigation, and they have a higher standard. And usually they're a layer that comes in well after school administration. An SSO is going to be more like a school administrator or closer to having the same freedoms as a school administrator, where a lower threshold of reasonable suspicion before they can conduct an investigation, and that's very beneficial too. That provides more freedom to school employees to conduct searches and do things of that nature, depending on what issues they're dealing with. So they both have benefits and drawbacks depending on their position, but having one of each at the school is going to be very beneficial to cover all bases.
Mm-hmm. So are they able to carry weapons?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So is this one we should discuss the bullying thing, or is that? When are we going to discuss that?
Student conduct back in the, that we talked about.
Question?
I wanted to talk about the bullying
Okay,
thing.
you can go ahead right now. This would be a good time with the SSO. Yeah.
So I know that you said the SRO and the SSO being in the schools are going to help with that, combat that, but I really would like as a board to address the consequences of bullying. And I know that it's not our duty necessarily to pick those consequences, but I would like to see them tightened up. I mean, bullying is probably worse than fighting, and we have stricter policy on fighting, where, we're just tired of seeing the bullies and the victims kind of be punished together. And that's a nation thing. I'm learning all the school systems kind of do it that way. But I would just like to, and I've spoken to some of the board members, and we're in agreement to kind of tighten the consequences up if possible.
Yes, ma'am. I hear you loud and clear, and we'll talk about this summer and prepare to start the school year with some initiatives that will address bullying specific.
Thank you.
And then finally, in terms of school security, you do have an attachment in the agenda. I think the board requested that we take a look deeply into employing weapon detection systems in all schools. And so quickly, beginning with the start of the 25-26 school year, King George County Schools plans to implement the use of weapon detection systems at all 5 school buildings. Weapon detection systems have proven to enhance safety and threat prevention, provide psychological reassurance for both our students and staff, deter individuals from entering our school buildings with a weapon, allow for more expedient emergency response, and provide greater support to school administration and law enforcement. The technology, along with a myriad of other safety measures, such as mental health supports and trained threat assessment teams, King George County Schools will continue to make student and staff safety a priority. The request this evening includes 5 units at King George High School, 4 units at King George Middle School, and 2 units at each of our 3 elementary school. School board office staff and building level administration will work collaboratively, and we already have started this summer to allocate the human resources needed to support the requested units. This evening, I recommend that we approve the purchase of 15 weapon detection systems along with the associated accessories as listed in the accompanying purchase order to use within King George County Schools beginning in the 25-26 school year.
I have a question, Dr. Boyd. I see that there's a 4 to 8 week delivery period. So do we think that's possible to get them in and installed? And
I certainly hope so. We're still pretty good in that window right now. Of course, I've done this before, and we'll figure out what happens in the world and where we are in that. But I think if we get the approval this evening, then that will speed the process up. And we have already started working with staff. So as soon as we have them on the property and we feel comfortable with the way they operate, I've already instructed principals to begin planning on what it looks like from a human resources standpoint. I think we're in good position to start the school year with these in place. And I think, you know, it's important to note that King George County right now is really almost, maybe with the exception of Westmoreland, surrounded by all school divisions that have this technology. Stafford, Spotsy, Fredericksburg, Colonial Beach, I think Caroline, I think everybody at this point is certainly interested in employing this technology or is already employing this technology for the reasons that were just mentioned.
thank you for finding something that will work for us. I appreciate it. We all do.
Dr. Wall, what does this technology look like? What is it exact? I mean, it's not.
So these are mobile units, and they are 2 towers that stand probably about 6 feet tall. You can lean them over and you can actually pick them up. They have plates on the bottom of them, and they can be operated by either plates or to just weigh them down so that they don't move. They can be operated inside or outside. They can be battery operated or plugged in. And what they do is one pole communicates with the other pole. It can have just a visual response of a green light or a red light. And it can also have an auditory response of a bell. Multiple people can go through at a time, and you can adjust the sensitivity on the units to pick up, you know, at least weapons. But you can certainly adjust the sensitivity down to being even more precise for smaller objects and things of that. In talking to the folks that provide this technology, and this is a technology that's used at most stadiums. You'll see this at many places right now. The company we want to go with is called OpenGate, if you want to research that and review it. But I think it'll be something that'll serve us well. It has about 49 antennas inside each of those towers, and they go from floor to ceiling in terms of scanning.
Looking at this purchase order, it says delivery date is 5/16 and expiration date is 5/30. I think we're a little past that.
Yeah, it's going to go past that, yeah.
Well, can they be sensitized to go to the level of dictating a bullet?
I understand they can be, but at the same time, that will...
Other things?
Yeah, so it can do other things. And I think what we'll do, and we're very early in the infancy stage of planning the rollout of this, but in talking to other folks that have employed this, there are times where you can adjust the frequency of particular units at particular times. So if you're not going to adjust it to that fine level, because what will happen is if you adjust it to a level so fine, you're going to pick up everything, and it's going to take a long time to get into the building. So what many schools do is they'll take a day out of the week or a day out of the month where they'll take one unit, move it around the building, and scan at a higher level during that period of time.
A lot of experimentation. That's good.
We can also use these at our stadiums for football games. We can use them at evening events as well.
Is this the same company that you said you talked to several other divisions and superintendents? Is this the same company that they use?
Some are using OpenGate. Some are using other technology as well.
I noticed on here, they say that they're going to provide a couple-hour training period, is what it said, like 2 hours or something like this?
No, I think it works out to be something like a day. I think they do 4 hours on the front end, making sure that we know how to have the equipment hooked up. And then also they train our staff, which I think is going to be our administration. And then they also require that they are there on the first day of implementation so that they can work with us hand in hand. Yeah.
Good.
Dr. Boyd, in terms of like what the process is or the policy is for if it does go off, does all that have to be written and reviewed and things like that?
We can, yeah, so that'll be a practice. It won't be a policy necessarily, but we're working with the company right now. That's part of the training, is that they give us best practice. There's certain things that they require you hand around the detector, like a Chromebook, so that doesn't set the unit off. And then if you do set the unit off, then there's a secondary search, which requires the wand. And then usually that, and many of us that went to Hopewell, I think it was, we saw that in operation a couple times. But from there, usually you find what you're looking for, and if not, then we go to a private location and search from there.
Anyone have any more questions?
I think it's going to be a little bit time consuming without having that surveyor belt or whatever you call it to go through, because most kids are going to have their Chromebook in their book bags. So we got to figure out how that would work easiest.
I think there's going to be a learning curve on the front end. I think in terms of the board and really in terms of the community, I think we're going to have to give everybody some grace on the front end of getting this into the building and into the schools. When I spoke with principals the first time, they were I'll tell you, I think what was said to me was that everyone is ready to pay this cost for this level of safety. There will be a cost. I mean, there's going to be time associated with it, and there's going to be, we're going to have to work through getting into school every day, there's a cost associated with that. But I think the things listed above, psychological security, all of those things that go along with how everyone's going to feel in the building, I think is well worth it at this point, and one that most school divisions are ready to take the plunge on.
All right.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the purchase of 15 weapon detective systems along with the associated accessories as listed in the purchase order presented.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Dr. Board, again. Now, the last thing on our agenda for this topic is a schedule change that was added.
Yeah, talking just before the board meeting, there's a couple of us that may have some conflicts with the next board's meeting on the 16th. And I know obviously somebody could call in, but of course that wouldn't count towards a quorum. So it sounds like there might only be 3. I would like to recommend, if there's not anything serious, that we cancel the next board meeting on the 16th. But if something is needed, especially for approving personnel, that Dr. Boyd and Aaron could notify, and there'll probably be at least 3 people available to meet in order to accomplish that. But to just simply cancel, not postpone, but cancel the next, which is commonly done in the summertime if there's not a big need, to cancel the next board meeting on the 16th.
Any discussion about that?
Needs to be seconded.
Is that a motion?
That's a motion. Yes, I'm making a motion that we cancel the board meeting on the 16th of June with the idea that if there is a need, that an emergency meeting will be held to approve personnel or whatever if there's an emergency.
Second.
All in favor?
I just have a
Sorry,
question.
any discussion?
Discussion, I'm sure there will be.
So I guess we should ask, do we need the meeting if,
So we can do code of conduct at the very meeting in July, excuse me. So that'll be July 7th. We talked earlier, there will be personnel that comes up, and typically in the summertime when we have to have a special meeting, I'll call Kathy and see if we can get at least 3 of us together to approve personnel, because it's very busy in the summertime in terms of personnel. The other items that we had on there, do you recall? We have some stipends that we want to discuss with you all. We can also, that could wait until July if it needs to. And then that was it, right? And then there's some VSBA policies that will have to be reviewed as well, that have a little more substance than the ones we did tonight. But that can wait, that can also wait.
This July 7th meeting is going to be a long one because we have disciplinary that starts at what?
1:30.
1:30?
Yeah. So these are the 3 disciplinary hearings which we required to come back. And we want to make sure that they have met the expectations that we set forth. So yeah, we'll have all 3 of those, and then we'll roll right into the July 7th meeting.
Okay, we have a motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
aye.
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 Chair votes aye, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I don't know what's wrong.
It's going to say there.
Called dyslexia.
What's that? And let's move on to committee reports. Mr. Frank, do you have any committee reports?
No, I don't.
Ms.
No
Cleveland?
committee reports.
I do not.
Mr. Bush?
Yes, I have 2 of them. The ATI, we met, and it was very profitable. She gave end of year, I don't think I reported this last time. Hopefully I didn't. Forgive me if I did. But she gave an end of year kind of report, and it was very successful. Especially, I liked, and again, forgive me if I already reported on this, but there was a lot of students that may not have passed their SOLs, but most of them that now attended ATI, almost all of them passed. So it is a tremendous success story for what ATI has accomplished. I may have already reported some on that last one. I met with the Special Education Advisory Committee. We had a meeting with Ms. Howard. It went very well. We specifically talked about, I'm not going to pronounce her name right, Rhonda Niebauer, that Kate, Ms. Howard had met with her, and they had several discussions about what they're going to do, focus on in the coming year, and then specifically what to do with the graduation, as students graduate, more emphasis on trying to help them as they graduate and where they're going on to as they leave King George. And then we also talked about some of the Parent Educational Advocacy Training Center, the PAATC, and we had some discussions about that. But overall, it was a good meeting, and looking forward to the next year.
Thank you, Mr. Bush. Ms. Davis?
Yes. So our new director for the CBGS, Chesapeake Bay Governor School, is Dr. Rob Wright. He is replacing Dr. Jason Strong, yeah. And this guy seems pretty fun and energetic as Jason was, so I might be okay now. But he did graduate from Rappahannock Community College, and he was a part of the CBGS as well. And then something that I didn't do that I wish I did, but I didn't catch it till now was I give a shout out to some of our King George students. I'm not going to say their names because there's a lot of them. 14, your daughter is one of them, who made the director's list for the Bowling Green campus that represents the King George students that go there. So there was 14 of our King George students that made the director's list. That's all.
Thank you. I have no committee reports. They will move along to superintendent's report.
Yep. So Madam Chair, I think it was some time ago, so I'm not sure if we remember, but we had some public comment about the trees that were outside near the bus loop at the high school that were covering the band platform. That was some time ago, but I want to let you know that when spring sprung and it was a good time to move those, with the support of Mr. Watson and Mr. Mitchell at the high school, those trees have now been moved to closer to the entrance of the high school. If you're coming into Fox's Way, they're on the left-hand side up on the hillside there. So they look good, and I certainly appreciate everybody's effort on adhering to that. This Thursday, we have our leadership retreat. It's at UMW, and we'll do that from 8 o'clock to 4 o'clock. There's been a lot of good work put into this, very similar to what we did last year in terms of developing our leaders here in King George County. So we'll spend the entire day there with a number of breakout sessions, which involves, we'll have an attorney from Sands Anderson come and address any questions that we've had through this school year. We've got a number of other breakout sessions for our instructional staff and also our administrative staff. So it'll be a good day on Thursday at UMW. If anybody wants to stop by, you're more than welcome. I did have the opportunity to listen to the town hall meeting the other night. I know Mr. Frank was there, I think, in that seat right there. I can tell you that at the beginning of that evening, there's still a lot of talk about schools and the need for schools, and also a desire to develop our vocational programs here in King George County. And you know, we're talking about the feasibility study for the vocational center, which should be coming very shortly. I've been in contact with RRMM, and when that product is complete, then they are going to provide a presentation to the school board about where or what it's going to take to get the vocational center up and running. So all very promising that you hear our community members and our board of supervisors respond to the need for schools in King George County. I want to thank the board members for attending so many things at the end of the school year with the support of our principals providing all of those dates. Thank you all for being at so many of those events. It certainly means a lot to our staff. And it really concluded last week with a very beautiful and inspiring retirement luncheon. So Mr. Frank, Ms. Hoover, thank you for attending that. It was very nice, and thank you to our staff who put that on. They did a wonderful job. So we're rolling into summer now and planning for next school year. But thank you, board members. Thank you, staff, for a really good school year. So that's my report. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Dr. Boyd. Moving on to board comment, Mr. Bush.
Just want to especially thank all the work that was done on the title programs. I do know that's a tremendous amount of work. In fact, I have a friend of mine who was assistant superintendent, and his only job was working with teachers in the title programs. And to think that you all did that, there was no, input necessary. Well, there was input, but it wasn't like you had to have somebody in charge of all that. You all did it on your own. So it was a wonderful, wonderful job. Thank you so much for that. And also I appreciate John Henson, a good friend of mine. He's the pastor at Thrive, where I also worship, leading us in a prayer today. And also all the work, and appreciate the fellow board members that attended so many things. I know all of us have very busy schedules, and I wish I could have attended more, but I just appreciate, especially Mr. Frank and Ms. Hoover, and I know that several others have attended many things at the end of the year. Thank you for doing that. And Dr. Boyd, thank you so much for being very attentive to, I think, everything as the board for the last 3.5 years that I've been on the board. You know, it's kind of like anything that we mentioned that we would like to see done, you respond to it. And I thank you for being very attentive to that. And it's very well appreciated. Thank you. That's all I have.
Ms. Davis?
Yes, the Title I program, I saw it said 70% of our students made, our SL score was over 400, which is amazing, right? I mean, I'm new at this, so I was the Title I program said 3rd through 5th grade made over 400, 70% of them did, right? So that was really cool to read. I just read it on this thing that she had, yeah. Thank you for a great school year. There's many, many challenges we hear about, and you guys just push through and keep going and with a smile on your face. So thank you for that and all the hard work that you just continue to work, especially when a lot of people make comments and do things on social media, and when they have no idea what they're talking about half the time, you guys just keep going and doing what's right. So thank you for that. All of you, all the leaders, all the staff, and our teachers, and for just a great school year. Thank you, Pastor John, for coming. He's a good friend as well. I call him my brother from another mother. He's a good guy, good man. And that's it for today. Oh, graduation was awesome. I don't think we had a board meeting since then. Graduation was a lot of fun. It's very inspiring, very inspiring. My kids got to go to one, and I hope that motivated them to see what they can do and how successful that they can be and what our schools offer them. So that was encouraging to me for that. That was our first time ever being at one. So
Thank you. Mr. Frank?
I just want to thank everyone for all you do, all the teachers, all the staff. Well, what you've done here tonight has been amazing. So thank you very much. Since the last meeting, I think I've been to every school but Potomac and several times at some of them. I made Sealston's 5th grade graduation, which was fantastic. It was really, really good. Sealston does a good job down there on that. And then the graduation retirement dinner, congratulations out there, Christine, and everyone else who I saw a lot of my friends that I used to teach with there retiring. So it was all good. That's all I have.
Thank you. Ms. Cleveland?
Yeah, I'd like to say thank you to our superintendent, Dr. Boyd, as well as this board for approving the weapons detection systems. I know that it is definitely a need in our community, and I know that we have a lot of families out there that are very excited to hear that our students and staff are going to be more protected in the upcoming year. I think this just sends a huge message to our community, to our staff, and to our students that safety is a priority for us. And we have worked really hard to make sure that this happens. And I just want to say thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cleveland. So I wanted to say how much I enjoyed the senior walk, the graduation, Grandparents' Day, 8th grade celebration, 5th grade celebration, kindergarten promotion, and the retirement celebration. It was 300, how many years? 347 years, and it was only about 8 people 13. Okay, still a lot of years so that was a great celebration. Thank you to everybody for all your dedication throughout the years. And also, thank you for your work done to get our schools the grants that we need and use. Appreciate everybody here this evening. I also want to thank Dr. Boyd and all the staff for a great school year. We survived another one. And also my board here, I think we work collaboratively and we all pick up where each other's strengths and weaknesses lie. And I just appreciate everybody. Everybody that works in the school system, everybody's doing a great job. And again, even when there's not a lot of negativity coming at us, appreciate the positivity because it all is for the students. And thank you. Now, moving on to closed meeting. Do I have a motion to move to closed meeting?
I make a motion that we go into closed session pursuant to State Code Section 2.2-3712A of the Code of Virginia. I move that the board convene in closed meeting to review hires, reassignments, resignations, and retirements as permitted under 2.2-3711A, number 1 of Code of Virginia.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. We are now in closed session.
George County School Board returned to open session and certified that pursuant to State Code Section 2.2-3712D, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements under this chapter, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion by which the closed meeting was convened were heard, discussed, or considered in the meeting by the public body.
Second. And certify.
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 Certified. Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Do we have a motion to approve personnel as presented?
I make a motion that we approve the personnel as presented.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Chair votes aye. Motion carries. We are now adjourned.
And our next meeting is
July 7th.
July at 1:30, right?
No, you're good.